Before we jump into today's topic, a quick disclaimer. The stories and data we share come from the states that we practice in and the experiences that we personally had, which can differ greatly across our country and certainly the globe. This is not a professional advice show. So let's get comfy and talk about death.
Hello and welcome to Mort Mike.
A down-to-earth discussion on death and dying.
I'm Brandy.
And I'm Red, and we are your people posers on today's episode. Have you ever found yourself wondering, wow, traditional funerals? Too boring. How do we jazz it up a little bit? If you, too, grow tired of seeing Gam laid out flat and flaccid in a casket, why not ask your funeral director for the playing poker pose or the mounted motorcycle motif? Give human taxidermy a try. But all jokes aside.
Nope, no jokes. I'm all in.
This is actually real. This is called extreme embalming, and it is a thing. However, it is rare, but I would consider this absolutely like a form of art of what these embalmers can do to the human body after death.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not like taxidermy. Like when I say taxidermy, like that's more so the joke because it's like I'm sure you of all people know how taxidermy works, right?
I'm pretty familiar with the art of taxidermy. I think it's the evolution of all people. You either start all people in death care. You either start with hunting and taxidermy, or you end up hunting and taxidermying.
There's no option outside of A or B.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of time before it's one or the
Precisely.
other.
And that can be like normal taxidermy, like what I'm assuming we're kind of more leaning towards talking about, which is the like skinning and making a form and then pinning it to the form and all of that stuff. But the wet specimens count too. If you ever made a wet specimen, I feel like you're the type. That's taxidermy.
I actually made a wet specimen out of a bone chip taken out of, or cartilage chip taken out of my knee when I had surgery.
Oh, that's right. See, you are officially a taxidermist.
It's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not quite to that level where you would be skinning somebody and like putting it over the foam form and like giving it glass googly eyes and stuff, because that's like illegal for a human body. It's like gross abuse of a corpse, I think, if you're going to be charged.
Sounds boring.
So, I know, it's super boring. That should be fine. Like, there's so many people I've talked to that'd be like, yep, just skin me and make a coat rack out of me. And like, enough people ask for it. We have to give the people what they want, you know?
Absolutely. They deserve it. I mean, I'm all for you should be able to do whatever you want with your corpse. So if that's what
I think
you
if
want.
it's in a directive that's like notarized and or witnessed or something, I feel like it should be able to happen, right? Like, I don't know.
100%.
I think it's dumb.
What else is the point of having a body? Like, this is all I own. At the very end of the day, this is all I own. Why can't Why can't I do whatever I want to it?
Especially because, like, funeral arrangements are, like, when you die, you become quasi-property in the eyes of the law. And so the funeral arrangements are legally then to be made by your next of kin. So, like, you really don't have any rights. Like, even if you make a pre-arrangement and, like, that's legal and binding and everything, like, the next of kin can say, fuck that shit. We're liquidating that and taking the money and applying it to a different thing that we want to do. Like, you have no rights when you die, which super sucks. If you pay to have your skull taken out and used as a drinking bowl, like, you should get to have that.
100%. 100%. I don't care if you think it's gross. Doesn't matter. If that's what I want to do, I should be able to do it. That's why I said I should be able to have my husband's heart after he dies.
Yeah, if it's paid for and you have all of the proper parties in place to do it, and like if your next of kin doesn't want to do it, okay, fine. They don't have to. It's prepaid for, and everything is in motion without you. So I don't know. I just I have opinions about this.
Do I think most of these things are appropriate? Like, do I really think that Grandpa wants, or sorry, Gam wants to be put in
Gam.
Do I really think she wants to be put in the playing poker pose No. Of course she doesn't really want that. She might joke about it, she might say it, but would she put the paperwork to it? I don't think so.
Mm. Right. Well, before we get into more of the specifics about some of these crazy art forms of extreme embalming, I will just go over some of the basics, right? Not everybody has been to a funeral, or they have, but it's direct cremation, so they might not have seen somebody laid out in this traditional pose. So this is also just what I have done at my the 3 funeral homes that I worked at. This is what we typically did for those, and this does change based on the community that you're in, the state that you're in. Locale matters. Some places have full open caskets, some have half couch caskets. It's stuff like that. It just depends on the community. So this is just what I have participated in. This might sound different, so don't be getting in the comments being that's not how it's done here. It can change, but this is typical quotation marks to how this works. So people would be embalmed flat on their back and placed into the casket flat on their back as well. They'll then have the viewing side is the right side of the face. Typically they do have reverse couch caskets, which then the head would be on the right side, but most of the time I'd say it's got to be 95% of the time it's going to be open on the left for the viewing of the right side of the face. So as soon as you walk up, it's the right side of the face peeking out. So that means that the left hand would then be cupped over the right and laid across the abdomen, which people are kind of used to seeing that in movies and TV shows. And we will to get the right elevations for the head, the shoulders, knees and toes. We'll use head blocks during embalming. These plastic or rubber blocks to basically lift their head up off the table and their shoulders, and that's to accommodate for the space of a pillow to go underneath, essentially, and gets a nice decline of the lower body down, which is always very helpful with keeping any liquids in places that they should be and not outside of the body too.
Use gravity for your advantage. Gravity
is so important.
Can you change in the casket too? Can it some of them be lowered on the bottom a little bit, or am I making that up?
You are not making that up. So There are caskets with adjustable beds, and they released a tilt option. So not only just the head and the foot being able to be raised and lowered, but an actual tilt by degrees left and right. The actual bed tilts left and right, which is super cool. Especially if somebody's got some type of trauma, or if they had issues with spinal problems, right? So older people getting the hunchback or scoliosis or all that stuff. It was really cool. Awesome. It did a lot of our work for us. But the problem's that's the more expensive caskets. So You're not going to be seeing that in lower end caskets, which a lot more people are used to. And then we have to get into blocking with cardboard boxes and sheets from the hospital and stuff. We would use those to lift people up inside the casket and raise and lower arms and all that stuff. It's really crazy. That's why anytime people would go up to the casket, I'm don't touch anything. You don't know what we got going on in there to make this happen.
You want, and it's that's my work. Just wait. Let me.
It's my art piece, man. Please.
Your hands here. Don't put your hands here.
Yeah, right. You can touch grandma's hand. Anything else off limits. 0.
It's so crazy to think that we ask, we need these bodies embalmed and stuff, but they are so fragile under there, and if you felt hard enough, you'd feel the plastics and all the things. And I just wish everybody could have the same understanding and know, before they were going into it for the first time, to see a dead body in there and what really goes into it, so that I don't know, I just feel it would take so much of the stigma away. And I digress. I'm just now I'm just thinking about that from what you said.
No, I agree with you. And it got to the point that I had to get to know what is an acceptable amount of blocking and positioning that I don't have to tell the family about, and when do I have to tell the family about it, so if somebody was younger, their family's gonna have their hands all over the deceased, and I get it. I would really try to avoid saying please don't touch your loved one. That's a last case scenario basically. But when there's so much other stuff in the casket, it's listen, if you touch any one thing, it will wrinkle, crinkle, make a sound you're not used to. And I had to start preparing after you've gotten like one angry or confused person, like, why is there plastic all over my mom? Why does she have duct tape all over her wrists? Like, okay, I started to have a conversation with people before they went into the visitation room, because there's a lot of stuff, like it's the same thing with the taxidermied animal, like really, like there's a lot of stuff being used to make it stay in the position that it's in. So don't be surprised if you see stuffing.
Precisely. Because there's a lot of stuffing.
Oh my God, is there? Especially with, I digress without getting into like full blown makeup for like a traumatic injury. But
oh God, I can't even imagine.
Ask your funeral director before you start touching. I think the only other thing that like is specific to positioning is, and I got yelled at about this all the time, is like where the deceased would be looking if their eyes were open. And like a lot of funeral homes, they hated this like stargazing thing. If they're looking straight up at the ceiling, like it's not as natural. It's like a more peaceful position to be slightly elevated and then like looking 15 degrees out of the casket. It's I don't know, like, but it works. Like it does actually look better. Yeah, well,
I'd rather they were looking up. I don't want them looking at me. The fuck. That's a choice.
Look away.
No, look up, look away.
But I swear, all three funeral homes that I worked for had the same thing, like 15 degrees to the right, and then no stargazing. That was really big and important. So,
well, when
I die, me, I'm beating it into you.
I would never. I don't think I want to be embalmed, but if I ever came to it, I want to stargaze. I want to look at the stars. Please keep me looking up, because the only thing I really truly love is the moon. So
the moon,
I'll just look at her until my body decays. I like that. I'd prefer to stargaze.
Oh, you know what? I just thought about it. It's so you can't see up into the nose. Yeah, I just thought about that. Duh. Because when people suture in the nose and boogies and stuff.
Well, that also makes sense.
But yeah, so that kind of like is just like the basics of how somebody would be, just laid flat in a casket. Those few little tidbits just for pizzazz and getting everybody to look pretty much similar, like the typical what you'd see on a movie layout. But I did get to work with a family that made a request for an alternate position, and it was the first one in the 8 years that I had ever gotten, like ever. And it was like the last year of me working as a funeral director. And so our coworker had met with this family, and this gentleman had died by suicide. He had found out he was terminal. And once the family had gone, I think, out for the day or on like a day trip or something, they came back and he had shot himself. And obviously super sad, even though he was terminal. Like they wanted to have some time with him still. And so with little kids in the family, they wanted to see if we could pose him in a way that made him look more peaceful. So like he slept on his side with his like arm under a pillow under his head. And so they were hoping we could do that, so that way the kids would like see him the way they're used to seeing him sleep. And like when I came, I was off those days that this arrangement was made, and then I came back and my coworker was like, dude, he said yes to the family, and now we have to figure out how to do this, and nobody has ever done this before at our funeral.
Yeah, because I mean, to position that after like rigor mortis is set in and everything, I don't even know where you start to, because like, I mean, we have to position the arms differently, and I mean, it takes a lot of muscle to do it, and like to get it to stick. How did you do that?
So my coworker is the one that embalmed. I ended up doing the trauma cosmetics and reconstructive stuff essentially after. But what she had said, and this it kind of blew my mind. So they embalmed him in a normal position just because how all the tables and how all of our instruments and how all of our equipment and everything works, like the person has to be laying on their back to be able to embalm them, because otherwise you're getting pressure on the wrong vessels and a bad distribution of the fluid. And like first things first, like a body has to be preserved properly. It doesn't matter like the positioning. If the body's not preserved properly, everything else goes out the window, right? So what she had done, instead of using formaldehyde, there's formaldehyde and glutaraldehyde that you can embalm with. And formaldehyde is the like more cancer causing agent. It's like extremely good at what it does, but it rocks bodies is like our terminology for it. It like turns them into boards. They're super stiff. Like the arms and legs stay in the position that they're in. Like it's crazy how much it freezes the tissues of the body in place. But glutaraldehyde, while still being successful at preservation, it has a much more natural give to tissue than formaldehyde would. So that's what she used. You don't have to struggle with the body as much when you use it. And apparently as soon as he was done being embalmed and had a little time to sit, but not too much, because once they sit for too long, they'll be like frozen in that position. She then took him onto his side and then started to position him while on the table. And it worked wonders, because when I got in there, because we had to dress him still, right? So he has to be pliable enough to be able to be dressed. He was really good. Like they had worked out his joints and everything that we were able to dress him and then put him right back into that laying down position. I was floored that this was like possible at this point. Like it worked super well. The guy stayed on his side. He had no like problems with like tipping over. He kind of had a beer gut to keep him from rolling too far, which is good.
I love that.
After that I was like, no way. We can do more. We could definitely do more.
Yeah. What's next? I'm ready to take it a level up.
Yeah. We're putting Grandpa in a cannon and watching him. Like we're doing all sorts of fun shit.
We always come back to the cannon.
It always comes back to the cannon, man.
Always.
So I after that, it opened up my eyes to like, this is a possibility. And when I started to see all these articles for this extreme embalming, where like no joke, these funeral homes and their embalmers have done wonders with being able to have bodies sit in legitimate like sitting like upright positions, standing in some like poses. It's really cool to see some of these, and I would be a fool to not have collected a little collection to be able to send to you so you can see them.
I'm ready.
And I will also be posting these once the episode posts. I will make sure to put this up on our Facebook as well.
Oh wow! All right. Mm-hmm.
And some of these are so unique. 'Cause, like what gets me is some of these hand positions are like really good.
Wow.
Hands are really tough to get positioned, even laying down. So some of these people are holding wine glasses and like the fingers look like they're wrapped around things. Like this guy's holding drumsticks. This guy's actually gripping the motorcycle that he's on. Like it's impressive. It's very impressive. I love the gamer holding the Xbox controller. Super cool.
Oh my god, this lady though with the glasses and the wine or maybe it's her.
Dude,
bush
she's straight
light
chilling. She's got a cigarette in her hand.
That's
love
me.
that for her.
It would be a joint, and then it would be a white peach flavored Red Bull.
Oh my god,
100%.
Yeah. I love that.
I'd be wearing my big heart shaped sunglasses. Like this is the eccentricity that I want to achieve in my older age. Like. She has reached it. She's my goal.
She made it. Yeah. And that's why I had to ask you. I'm like, what, like if you had to have like the lasting, like this is Brandy pose, like what would you be doing? What would your pose be doing?
Wow. That is the question. That is
the question of the century.
Yeah. Because like really at this point in my life right now, who I am right now, I would probably, I would want to be like on a porch swing.
Oh my god, I love that.
Instead of a casket, I would want like a porch swing, and I would have, my phone would be open next to me, and I would have the bird listening app on. I'm saying right now who I am right now as a 28-year-old woman. I have the bird listening app open up next to me. And we would be outside, obviously, for the funeral, near the woods. And then I would, in fact, have a joint in the other hand. And that would be me. I'd probably be sitting with my legs crisscross. And
hell yeah.
I would be in a perpetual state of yap.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's literally perfect.
What about you? What's yours?
So I'm not gonna lie, the gaming one is speaking to me. That or like me sitting at a sewing machine, like getting really angry about some shit that I'm working on.
Just with like tight-lipped.
Me with a glue gun.
Trying to get a piece of thread through a sewing needle.
Oh my god, it's literally like the Courage the Cowardly Dog where Eustace freaks the fuck out because he can't thread the needle.
Precisely. I can see it.
So after seeing these pictures, and reading all these articles, I had to know, like, what, because we just dabbled, right, with this one gentleman, and that this is, like, advanced embalming. And so I had to know. I had to ask some actual experts on this, and I was so proud of myself. I did some field research for this episode. What? So it started off with a video that I watched. It's an interview with Luann Jones of Covenant Funeral Home, and they're up in Toronto, Canada. And we talked about the gentleman with the drumsticks for just a second when I was showing Brandy these pictures. That is hers that she embalmed. It was like a family friend.
What?
And so, yeah. And so this video, anyone can watch this video. It's a full interview. It's like on the YouTube channel, Carrie the Mortician. And so she goes through what she did. They also embalmed flat on the table. And I was so surprised to hear that they used a high index fluid. So I had mentioned like formaldehyde and glutaraldehyde, but there are different levels of how like potent they are. Essentially, their index, like how much water to formaldehyde ratio there is. And so high index is like that's what rocks people into these like solid states. So to find out that that's what she uses blew my mind. But at the same time, like, they have to be able to sit in the position that they're in too. So I guess it kind of helps keep them in that like upright position. They actually ended up using like wooden supports behind this drummer because he's sitting at a drum kit, right? So they have these wooden supports in the back that he's like attached to just to keep him from falling over if that's a problem. But I guess they had issues with his feet swelling once he was sitting because all the fluid went down to his feet, so his shoes didn't fit. So they had to like tip him back to like let it drain out again so they could dress him and then put him back in the sitting position. But I think what blew my mind the most was that in some of the pictures, if you look up like extreme embalming drummer guy, or if you go to look up this interview, they have his eyes open in some of these pictures. And they look fine. Like
what?
they don't like lose any of so because we're used to seeing bodies on their back, the gravity is what pulls the fluid out of them and makes them deflate essentially. So when he's sitting, they didn't deflate. They didn't have to glue his eyes open. They just fucking stayed open. Wild. They did have sunglasses on them, though, for some people, because that's like, I don't think I could see a dead person with their eyes open. I think that would kind of weird me out.
That's what I'm saying.
Honest.
Like, I don't want them looking at me. Like, I like when the dead people's eyes are closed. Or, like, you can tell the difference when somebody is literally laying on their back and is cold and dead, and their eyes are a little bit open. Like, you can look at them and be like, yeah, that's a dead guy. I can, like, close their eyes. Most of our dead people don't die shocked, and so their eyes are pretty closed. So I don't think I like that. I'm gonna decide I don't like that.
Yeah, it's definitely a choice. But apparently, same thing. No gravity, keeping having the purge come out of her mouth. So like there was no leaking issues. Like she did say this was like the perfect embalming, though. Like he embalmed super well, took the fluid well. So like it could not have gone better for this.
I was gonna say maybe this is the cheat code. Like we gotta change the whole system.
Right, we have to get like upright caskets from now on. Well, they used to do it back in the day. They'd put everyone in the pine boxes sitting up. So
that's true.
Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to go back to the roots, you know? But even after watching that interview, I just felt like I had like way too many questions. So I started to like every funeral home that was mentioned attached to one of these pictures, I called them and I actually even called one. So it's really big down in Puerto Rico and in Louisiana in like New Orleans area. So I did try to call one in Puerto Rico and my Spanish did not get me anywhere. So
fair enough.
My very poor Spanish. So I went to the next best thing to Louisiana.
How was your French?
Fortunately, super English speakers. Everyone I talked to, very, very clear English speakers. Because, yeah, I don't think saying beignet is going to get me very far.
Fair enough. All right.
For the privacy of the funeral homes and the directors and embalmers I talked to, I will not be mentioning their names. The first one I called, I was able to get straight in contact with the embalmer. Like, they were super kind about it. Like, because I always started with, like, I know I have the weirdest question. I promise I'm a funeral director and I'm not some weirdo. Like, I just ask how you guys did this. And she was super forthcoming and just wanted to share her knowledge with me of, like, director to director, essentially, embalmer to embalmer. So that was really sweet.
Nice.
So she said the same thing that everyone else has said, is that they use the same fluid, same embalming fluid that they would for any other embalming. And what the big change that she told me that like actually made a lot of sense on how to get the positioning started while the body is like setting with the fluid is that after the embalming is completed, they will move them over to a very specific bed. So it's like a hospital bed that has like multi-level positioning instead of just a regular dressing table. They'll actually use like a position bed, which I'm like, that makes sense how you'd get someone to like sit up if the bed is like having them sit up. And that immediately cleared up a lot of questions for me. She even mentioned that they can still be casketed, because that was my big question, is like, all right, well, when they're done sitting, can you get their legs to go back down? And she's like, yep, absolutely. They can be in and out of caskets pretty easily. They use like PVC pipes and like do like little setups with pipes for support, sometimes wood depending, but like the PVC pipe thing was a lot easier for them to like make work for our different body types and different position types. And she even said that they had to use like ratchet straps and zip ties to like restrain them in certain ways so they don't like fall forward, or like, because you know people are still going to try to come up and like see these people. You don't want them to accidentally tip over or anything, so it's just like a safety thing more than anything, which like that does make sense. But my final question to her was, what kind of challenges does this propose to you as an embalmer that is just not normal? And she said that typically she will not recommend doing these extreme positions for anybody that's over 200 pounds, just because the body mass is so unwieldy and it makes it so much more difficult for the staff, and just there's a lot more that can go wrong at that point that they can't really control, which I mean, like, I understand to an extent, but that does obviously cut out a lot of people from being able to do it. And that's just their funeral home. I mean, I'm sure other funeral homes might be able to accommodate more, but I can understand why in a certain respect. The second person that I ended up talking to, she did not actually get to participate in any of these embalmings, but she's well aware of it. Their funeral home had done some real high ranking like members of the New Orleans Society, so very much like a culture thing that she understood. And I just started to kind of shoot the shit with her at that point of like, so why exactly would this be somebody, like, why would this be a thing that people want, this extreme embalming? Like, what do you think draws people to choose this option? Because I mean, in all my years, I've never had anybody ask for it or like ask about it, even just as a like a passing fancy. So she actually gave me some really interesting information, and just like talking about like how people would lead to this decision. Especially in New Orleans, there's a lot of people that are larger than life, and their funeral needs to reflect this. Some of these people are like high-ranking members in politics, or they knew everybody and everybody knew them. They were household names. And for them to have a funeral that didn't embody this just massive personality that they lived with would have done them a disservice. And so this is just extreme embalming was another step to take towards essentially an immaculate going away for them. And I loved that. I loved that was her answer to that. And it makes a lot of sense. And I think that if this was something that more embalmers were more comfortable with, this would be something that we would see way more often, to be honest. Like, if people knew this was an option for their loved ones, they would do it. Because we see all sorts of crazy stuff with the funeral home anyway. Like people wanting their caskets to look like trucks, and like just parking their motorcycle in the room with us, and having their pets come, and just anything that just shows who they were as a person anyway that's being involved now. This is just like the next step, I feel like. So I don't know. I am super all about this. I think that embalmers need to be challenged to do something new, especially if they want to stay relevant in today's current society that is already working away from funerals anyway, taking funerals out of the funeral home. I think this could be something really wonderful that they could do for like the community and for the people in it. So I'm all for it. I would, if I could go back and have done this all over again, maybe this would have been the route that I would take, you know.
You would be the extreme embalmer. You'd have your own TV show. It would make a
hell of a TV show, right?
Yes! Like the extreme embalmer.
I'll get to work on the theme soon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Get that drummed up.
Mm-hmm. And we need a good intro, and you need to be like arms crossed, and we're like back to back, and I'm like your witty sidekick that like comes in and is like, oh boy, how are we gonna do it this time, boss? And you're just gonna like finger gun wink to the camera and be like, we get the job done.
Yeah, like when other funeral directors or other staff are like, I just don't think we can do it. I just don't think we can do it. Mm-hmm. You can just run up to them and be like, we're making it happen. Make it fucking happen.
That's my energy completely. So yeah, that's how I used to team lead, if you were ever wondering.
Oh man. That was a hell of a trip. I'm really excited that I got to talk to all the people I did. I feel like I learned a lot. So this was a really exciting episode for me to have learned about. But I feel that you have something extra to stir into this pot. What were you able to discover in human taxidermy?
Oh, I'm so excited. I think this was like the whole reason I wanted to do this episode, because I, like many of us here on the podcast, have a lot of tattoos. And I love my tattoos. I paid a lot of money for them. I don't want them to go away. Yeah, it's my art. It's my body. It's all I own. And I got to put these pretty pictures on it. And you're going to fucking tell me that they're going to rot away forever in the ground? No bueno.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer, man.
I can't deal with that. So I went on a quest. I did this for the people. I'm coming to you with my information. There seems to only be one place that you can actually get these tattoos preserved. Currently in the United States. In Ohio. They are called Save Your Ink Forever. They have, like, you can directly do it. You can write into them, fill out the paperwork, and say, hey, when I die, I'm donating my tattoos. This is how I want them to, like, be presented, whatever. Or your family can do it for you, just like kind of like any other funeral practice, where they can say, yeah, we want this tattoo, or we want all the tattoos, and we want them to be displayed this way. They'll do the same thing, fill out a bunch of paperwork, and then a kit gets sent to the funeral home, and the funeral home recovers the tattoo, and then sends it back to the company. And
what the fuck? This is like no, this is like legitimately. I did not expect actual taxidermy.
Yeah,
like no, this is real.
This is real. This is really real. Like this is happening. This exists right now. A little, because I'm going to show you something that absolutely, if you like think that this is blowing your mind, I am very excited to show you. Not just what these look like, because for the most part, they just kind of look how you would expect them to look. It's kind of like a shadow boxy frame with a piece of stretched out skin, essentially. They say it kind of more so like resembles parchment by the time the process is done.
Because they tan it, I would assume, right? Like some type of tanning?
I have no idea. So it seems like they are keeping the information on how they do it kind of locked down, which is smart.
I can understand why, yeah.
They seem to be the first people doing it. They said that they have a really good method. And I mean, the skin that I've seen looks really, really cool. Like I said, it just looks like a picture in a frame. I read an interview with one of the owners, and that's what he said. He was like, if you put it up on the wall amongst all your other artwork, you really can't tell the difference.
No
and you can't.
Way.
Yeah, unless it is like, it looks anatomically like a human. It really just kind of looks like a piece of paper with a tattoo on it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to see this.
So it could take up to 3 months to get it back to you, which doesn't seem like a crazy amount of time. They can also do it overseas. So if you live somewhere that is not in the US, you can do it. Like, they just have to figure out the regulations and make it happen. And you can absolutely ship human tissue. I do it every single day. So that's not a problem at all.
It's like our bread and butter.
Now, overseas, like, obviously there's got to be more to it, but it can absolutely be done. So, okay. Then they took it a step further, and go ahead and click on that link, and I'm hoping it takes you directly where I want it to take you.
Oh my God. Oh my God, what is this?
Is it
my God.
So, scroll all the way down to the 3D tattoo preservation.
Oh my God.
Are you kidding me?
Insane. It's literally, no, I swear, listeners at home, this is as close to legitimate human taxidermy as we have right now. This is incredible.
Fucking crazy.
It's like basically a shoulder down to an elbow.
Yep.
Of like the whole 3-dimensional arm and the tattoo on it. And it looks like it's not stretched weird.
No,
like the image.
They must have like somehow mapped out exactly how this person's arm was shaped and looked.
Yeah.
And then 3D printed this portion of an arm and then put the preserved tattoo back over it. It's literally human taxidermy. It is literally human taxidermy.
Shut up and take my money
Right now. Right fucking now. It is so cool.
Oh my God. I can't wait for my fiance to die so I can get his arm stuffed.
See? You get it now. You understand.
I need it. Oh, it looks so good. I am like over the moon, dude. That's why I put it in all caps on there. I was like, do not touch this link until I want your genuine reaction, because this is so fucking cool. I could only find, here it says one of only 2 ever created in this format. Now, obviously that was recent, so there's plenty of time for more. I'll start saving right now. No, honestly, well, if you think about like the cost of a traditional funeral or the memorial items that you could get, so like people get cremated remains and hair and like carbon-based stuff pressed into diamonds and like lab-grown diamonds essentially, and that shit is in this price range depending on like the jewelry you'd be getting. So this is not unreasonable. So yeah, I'm looking at the cost guide right now. So it's like individual tattoos, $1,700. That's nothing.
Not bad. Are you
that's
joking?
Nothing. That's the cost of like half a mid casket.
That's nothing.
Full leg sleeve tattoo, 10 to 15,000. So like we're getting up there a little bit more. Did not expect to see this at the very bottom. Full bodysuit. So they
said they've done it.
They have a whole that's the whole man.
Yeah. So I don't know if they had a gallery on here. I don't think so, which makes sense because I would assume every single time like they do these tattoos, they have to get specific release because
of course
tattoos are identifying and all that stuff. But
for sure.
I would look at pictures of these all day long. It's like my favorite thing at work is to see the different tattoos coming in.
They apparently run around to different tattoo and arts festivals and do like trade show stuff. We're going to see them.
Yes.
Like this is incredible.
I want to work for them.
I'm honestly super surprised that this is located in Ohio, because Ohio is a little when it comes to like dead body stuff, not as forward moving as other states have been. So I think they were one of the first states that had aqua cremation and shut it down. So like, I don't know. This is really cool. I really hope that this sticks because this is incredible. And what an amazing keepsake to have. So like literally like if I got to go hold my deceased loved one's hand and like, because it had all the tattoos on it, like I had the full arm sleeve like that. I that's just incredible. Like, I think this is so neat.
And it has to be fairly new. Obviously, you hadn't heard of it yet. I'd heard a little bit about it. Me and my friend have been talking a lot about doing this, and like, we really we want to do it. So, but their website was made in 2023. So like, they are not old. Like they are just coming up, and like, I mean, like you said, I would love to see this stick around and this really gain some traction because this is so cool. And that 3D printed arm is just crazy.
It's gorgeous.
I've never seen anything like that.
My breath got taken away when I saw it. We'll have to post this with the pictures because everybody needs to see this.
And if you're antsy, just literally type in save your ink forever, and it'll take you directly to the website where you can find all the same information that we just talked about.
Oh, so I cannot wait to have this in my collection.
So that is like the modern tattoo preservation that's happening right now. It like legitimate taxidermy, so that's pretty stinking awesome. But
I love it.
I have to talk about my favorite topic in all of dead things is mummies. I love mummies.
We're mummy girls. We you could be a horse girl or a mummy girl, and we went whole hog in the mummy girl.
I'm not going whole hog into a mummy. Stop, please.
Oh my god.
Keep that in. So I love mummies, and they were like my favorite bodies to autopsy. And they're just like, they hold so much history, obviously. And I'm also a history nerd. So I had to talk about our like earliest recording of tattoo preservation, which came from a discovery in 1993 by Dr. Natalia Polosmik, is how I'm assuming she says her last name. They are Russian archaeologists. She has a very jealous husband, which... I had to throw in, she is Dr. Natalia Polosmik, and her husband did not discover this. He just rode her coattails, so I want that to be known. Why do archaeologists always, why are they married to each other, and why are they jealous of each other? Always.
Well, because that's it's not as exciting as Indiana Jones would make it seem. So if there's not everyone gets to have a big discovery, so I can understand that someone would be jealous of it. So fuck that guy in particular. We're here for Dr. Natalia.
Exactly, because so after she found her amazing discovery, which was she's later dubbed as the Siberian Ice Maiden.
What? That's so bad.
Yeah, so they believe that she probably held some kind of higher rank within their tribe. So these are the Pazyryk people. So they're on what I can only assume is the Yukok Plateau. I'm so sorry, but I really think that is. And I put her ASL in here because I thought it would be funny to write it out the way, you used to get asked when you were on what are those video websites, the chat websites. You'd be like ASL. Well, her ASL is she was a 25-year-old female from the Yukok Plateau. So this is among a mountain range called the Altai Mountains. The range spans through Central and East Asia. And they found the Siberian Ice Maiden underneath what they could only assume was a burial mound, because these discoveries had happened before. She's not the first to discover people in this area necessarily, but on this specific plateau, she literally said, "Show me the biggest and the best looking one. That's the one I want to go to." And the ranger, and the ranger that was working that area was like, "Right here, lady, I know the one." So they make their way to this giant mound. It's covered in rocks. It kind of looks like maybe it's been pillaged a little bit, as a lot of these sites have been over the years, because there could be valuables inside of them. Obviously, we're no strangers to grave robbing.
Sure.
So they dig through. They dig very deep down, and they end up finding an entire tomb down there that had basically been built around a casket. There are these wood caskets. They call them kurgan. They are literally just their final resting place, like any coffin. But around it, they had built honestly just a log cabin without the roof around her. Okay. There was a table in there. Her last meal is in there, her last meal as she passed on and put to rest. So she doesn't actually eat it. She had 6 horses surrounding her that had been sacrificed. So all of these things are a note to the archaeologists that she meant something special to
she was
these
somebody
people.
Yeah,
she has this very large headdress on that has all these perfectly carved wooden birds on it and things like that. So I think
super ceremonial.
Yeah. Maybe she's a holy woman, or they said could predict the weather, you know, whatever that meant to them at the time. So she had some kind of special ranking. And on top of all of that, she has perfectly preserved tattoos. She was mummified in ice. How
Oh my god.
cool is that? So because these burial mounds are covered in those rocks, the water is able to drip down into the casket and fill it completely, and then it will freeze because it's so cold over the winter there. And then the sun is not able to penetrate that ground anymore to get down and warm it, so it just stays frozen for eternity, and they mummify.
Wow, that's so cool. I wonder what she looked like. Like, what did the tattoos look like?
So I have a photo. So she was kind of hard to find stuff on.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that cool though?
That's so cool. So it's like it almost looks like, is it the Aquarius thing where it's like the goat slash...
So they theorize it's these people at the time did a lot of like exaggerated things. So they think that this is like a deer with these like beautiful big swirling antlers. It's on her shoulder and it's much larger than it appears. Like if you look at the photo that's on the right and how far
That's
down her
huge.
chest it goes. Yeah, it's like a very large tattoo. And that was very different. Most women that got buried were buried with other women, typically, and a man because they were concubines to that man. So most women did not get anything like this. And you can literally see her ponytail, her braids.
Yeah. Oh my god.
She's like
That her hair
preserved.
stayed this well preserved over time. And like so anybody that's gotten like traditional work or went to a bad place or their skin just didn't handle it really well, it's got like the super thick lines of like a trad tattoo. But it doesn't have any of the bleed of the ink into the surrounding skin, which is super crazy. So like whatever method that they were using was, I mean,
So it said bone needles, and the pigment was made of soot, and it was applied with bone needles.
what?
Yeah. So
No
like that's all they were
way.
doing. But I guess, I mean, I'm sure there was more to it than just that, you know, whatever they mixed it with and things like that. But yeah, and I mean, they're perfectly preserved. This was discovered in 1993 in a different country by a different country's archaeologist. So as you can imagine, there's not a lot of information on it. And also the people of this land, the Altai people, they don't really want anything to do with this. They want their people left alone, as you can imagine.
Understandable.
So they don't think that she should have been moved at all. And it's really disappointing because when she was moved, she starts to decay. She was in like, you know, freezing temperatures for 2,400 years. I don't know if I've said that yet. 2,400 years old. So very, very, very old. And she was perfectly preserved down there. They bring her up, start to discover things, obviously, but it's really not anything that they didn't already know. They had already found graves very similar, and yes, hers was a woman, so there is that little bit of it, and like to see a woman represented in history when we don't see that a lot. Yes, that is a representation, but after you kind of like figured it out, you can't go back. You know, you can't re-put her inside those conditions. They can't be recreated.
Right.
And they perfectly preserved her by their way of embalming. So they had the method in which they would embalm is they would take out all of the organs, they would take out all of the muscles as well, and then they would pack the cavity with natural preservatives. I saw like pine and things like that, just probably stuff that smelled nice. And then
And
also,
the pine sap actually helps with anti-bug, anti-bacterial somehow with like the pine sap. So I think the Egyptians did something similar.
Yeah, that actually, I think I did know that. So that makes sense. So yeah, so they would kind of like pack the cavity. They would also like remove the brain. So there's a 2-inch hole in the back of her head. And there's no other signs of like how she died. So they believe she did die of natural causes and that hole on the back of her head is from removing the brain.
That's so cool.
I know, it's so, I love
awesome.
mummies. Oh, they're so cool. So yeah, so it was like kind of stupid to remove her. They did learn at least a good amount, but to remove her and then to move her to another facility where they put her in deep freeze. And then they put her in that deep freeze, but their freezer's not working all the time. And so it's on the fritz. And so she starts molding and her tattoo starts fading. So then they're like,
That's heartbreaking, dude.
Oh yeah, it's horrible, and it just continues to get worse. So they're like, what should we do with this body that we've already like desecrated? They send her to Russia to get more preserved, and Russia embalms her in their special way of embalming, where they basically just like dunk them in a vat of chemicals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she spent 19 years in Russia. And she was finally returned in 2021. And there is no more excavations that can happen in that area anymore. I think they've learned all they really needed to learn about those people. The archaeologists would obviously disagree. We've learned enough, I think. I think we can leave these people alone.
To stop disturbing. Yeah.
And they're in such a remote area and like all that. But out of it, we did get these really, really, really awesome preserved tattoos of like an ancient people that is just like so interesting to look at. And the design is so cool. So I just thought that was like a really interesting story, and how it can literally be mummified naturally, or you can send it to Ohio to get mummified, basically.
No, this is incredible. I'm so stoked for the future, because I mean, the Ohio place, like, that's 2 years, right? That's like 2 years of them working on this. Yeah. Imagine when it becomes relevant to like our generation, when we want to do this for like our immediate loved ones. Like, it's going to be so much more fine-tuned. I'm so stoked. Those prices are going to go down as they get better at their craft, and it's going to be more accessible to people. I would not be surprised if they start popping up in other states too. So,
yes,
I'm so excited.
I love it. I thought that was so cool. So I'm glad that I was able to do a little bit more of a deep dive on that. And I was really interested to find that they are kind of like the only one. I could not find anyone else doing this at this point. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool, and I think they might have some new customers pretty soon here.
Yeah, well, unless we're not wishing death upon any of our loved ones. No. But those tattoos are going to be so cool.
Yeah, precisely.
But I think that's going to be it for this week on Mort Mike. Connect with us on our socials at Facebook and YouTube at Mort Mike Podcast. And if you have any suggestions on topics you'd like to hear about, or burning questions you might have about death, shoot us an email at mortmikepodcast@gmail.com.
A huge thanks to Marson Music for our theme, Deputies of Death, and Macklin Legan for our custom icons and banners.
And be sure to tune in the first Thursday of every month for more casual discussions on death. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Mort Mike. Bye.
Bye.